So we've got a guest joining us. Our BJP Sudhanshu Mittal is joining us live. Thank you, Mr. Mittal, for taking the time out to speak to us here on CNN News 18. Can you tell us what is your government now planning to do now that Jakir Naik is saying he's not coming back to India today? Possibly he could also choose to not come back at all. What is the government going to do, especially as far as those comments that have been made by several ministers saying that he and his channel are under the scanner?
You see, the government is very, very clear that the law must take its own course. He has violated the law, and if the law has been violated, he has to be punished. So the agencies have been investigating him. They have been going through the footage and going through all the statements he has been given and looking at what sections of law which have been violated by him and how to deal with that matter. It was expected that he'll come here and then he'll be questioned and then subsequent actions would be taken. But even if he's not coming here, that will not deter the government from taking action against him.
Right.
Whatever due process of law is required to be undertaken, it will be taken, and howsoever he may like to evade, he shall be hauled up by law. I have no doubts on that. Here, I just want to make one more thing. I have been hearing these debates on Jakir Naik. I think there are two sections which have a responsibility on them. One is the Muslim clergymen and the other is the Muslim intellectuals. You see, religion is sought to be mixed with what Jakir Naik is saying. I think that puts the religious identity into dock. I don't think that is right, because the religion has to be differentiated between, there has to be a differentiation between what Jakir Naik says and what Muslims stand for. I don't think the Muslims of this country stand for what Mr. Jakir Naik says. So the clergymen as well as the intellectuals should come forward and disassociate themselves from what Mr. Jakir Naik has been saying and how he's been promoting disharmony and how he's been encouraging terrorism. I think terrorism and Islam are not an integral part of each other.
Right.
And it is people like Jakir Naik who have put the entire community in dock, and I think the community would do well. I just heard the Abu Azmis of the world. Again, the kind of venom they are spewing, the kind of provocation they are creating, saying Jakir Naik is a saint, he has not said anything wrong, and that he's being persecuted. All such things defending Jakir Naik today leave a question mark on the motives, and also inadvertently it puts the community into a very uncomfortable position.
Right.
So the community must disassociate itself from this.
Right. Be that as it may, Mr. Mittal, what about the BJP government? We spoke to Tom Vadakan of the Congress party a short while back. He said, why didn't your government act sooner? Why was time wasted in trying to see what his possible links to any of these organizations were? Because we all know the kind of speeches he's made in the past. Why didn't we act sooner? Why didn't we try and ensure that there could have been some sort of probe initiated sooner?
Mr. Tom Vadakan would do well by clarifying whether they are against Jakir Naik or they are for Jakir Naik. This double talk really surprises me. It has become the hallmark of Congress. You have a Digvijay Singh who's calling him Shanti Doot. Then you have all spokespersons of the Congress defending Digvijay Singh for his comments and sharing stage with Jakir Naik. So Mr. Tom Vadakan must first clarify, what does the Congress want? Does the Congress identify itself with Jakir Naik, or it says he is a provocator? If he's a provocator, Congress must come out unequivocally and say action must be taken against him. Thirdly, as to what we are doing, he would best answer that in 2008 you had the former police commissioner writing to them, and from 2008 to 2014, subsequently 2009 there was an advisory, 2012, and no action was taken just because of vote bank politics. They thought this will antagonize the Muslim vote bank, which they desperately needed. So they let the law give a go-by to the law.
Right.
So Mr. Tom Vadakan would do great service to this nation if he can come up with that clarity as to where Congress stands.
Right.
Not indulge in such low-level talk.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mittal, for being with us and putting your party's views forth, or putting up that interaction with Sudhanshu Mittal on our website News 18. It's a big story. We're tracking this. Jakir Naik saying he's not coming back today, and the question is, will he come back at all? We're taking a quick break, but lots more on the other side.